Greetings, fiends. So, I have a question for you. What does a baby tub full of tofu, a Ouija board, 4 feet of garden hose, and a pentagram have in common? I'm not 100% sure myself, but today we're talking about Calabrese, the Midnight Spookshow EP. So stick around here on the Midnight Chamber. Talking about Calabrese, finally, getting into the Midnight Spookshow EP. It was originally just the demo. This is pre-13 Halloweens. I unfortunately do not have the original demo version because my dumbass didn't buy it back in 2003 when it came out because I had several friends who had it. And but thankfully, Calabrese has got their merch game is like 100 maxed the fuck out, because not only did they put a reissue of this fucking record out, the Midnight Spookshow EP, they reissued this in 2013 on CD, and then lo and behold, last year, I believe, year before last, something like that, they reissued it on vinyl, which is freaking amazing, and it's on this... I'll tell you what, before we get into any major stories, let's just go ahead and cut right here, and we'll take a look at the releases. Alright, so here we have the Calabrese Midnight Spookshow EP. This is the repress from, I believe, 2013. But I could be completely wrong. The cover art is just killer. Like, I know I rave about Big Tony's artwork and layout skills all the time, but seriously, that is just a kick-ass fucking cover. Interior's just got some lyrics. Really, really old. Look at those. Look at the baby pictures. So good. Got all that sweet information. The CD itself looks really cool. Backdrop's got the iconic fucking Calabrese Hypno fucking artwork. I have a patch of this sitting somewhere. And then the back. Really amazing. Here's the vinyl. All signed up and looking sweet. Look at all those extra live tracks. Just absolutely kick ass. And when it comes to sexy red vinyl, this is easily one of my favorite colors. Like red marbled. Sweet center caps. Probably Christopher Lee, I would imagine, right there. Killer. And there you go. So, aren't those sweet? I mean, you got to just absolutely love the fucking way Calabrese puts a package together. I'm still waiting on a 7-inch. This would have made a sweet 7-inch, but they went above and beyond fucking with this, because the vinyl, like the CD reissue is pretty much the exact same thing as the demo. It's the original 6 released songs: Midnight Spookshow, Come Alive, Children of the Night, Cryzilla, Shrunken Head Kids, and Blood in My Eyes. You know, it's that. But then the vinyl has all this fucking crazy live stuff on it, which is just awesome. The 8 live songs. I'd wager a lot of it is from that 13 Halloweens era. Oh, so cool. Anyway, so let's hit the Wayback Machine back to the Antidote Records message boards. Again, like I talk about so much. I think all the bands that had like boards on that message board, all of them I believe were going to put records out on Antidote. But Sin Lamas, who ran Antidote Records, he was kind of a sketchy businessman. In fact, he still owes me a fucking shitload of merch that he took money for. But, you know, that's like fucking 15 years ago or whatever. But he was going to put out the Shadow Reichenstein record. He was going to put out Calabrese's first record. And a fair few other records. He did put out Graveyard Boulevard, Fink, Blitzkid's first 2 records. Second. He put out the second and third Blitzkid records. Because I don't know why everybody always forgets about Terrifying Tales. That's their first. Well, that's that. Shit. Fuck me running. It's their third and fourth records because Music for the Aesthetically Challenged and Terrifying Tales were the first 2, and plus the Revisited EP. But this is not all about Blitzkid. Just saying, Antidote Records was one of the spearheads of the horror scene. And just look, one of these days I'll have my friend Rachel on the show, and she will talk about the first Anti-Fest. I mean, that girl's been bumping around the scene since she was an early teen. And, I mean, we're all in our 30s now, pushing 40s, so it's been a long fucking ride. But Calabrese had a message board on there, and that was where a lot of us started discovering. We would see the band name, we'd go check the band out, and it was like love at first sight. I mean, Eerie Lane, Boo Gruesome from the Horrifics, Eerie Lane, Ecto One, all those bands, that was how we found out about them. And Calabrese, they also had mp3.com, like I mentioned before on a different video. It was kind of pivotal. mp3.com was very, very pivotal. You could get on there and do some sweet searching and find all kinds of crazy underground shit. There are some bands that I really, really loved that never really put a whole lot of stuff out and definitely didn't tour. It was just, you could find random MP3s on there. I'll do some horror punk hidden gem videos at some point. There's some really neat stuff where the people, it just different life circumstances, and they didn't tour. Maybe they didn't have enough money. Labels maybe not look at them. I don't know. But in this case, when Calabrese was bumping around Antidote, they were bumping around with just this Midnight Spookshow EP. It probably wouldn't. It wasn't until maybe a year or two after this came out that. It was at least a year or two after that. Was before 13 Halloweens came out, and that was when they started the whole contest deal. The first 4 or 5 records all had a contest to name them, which, fun fact, we'll get to in a different video, but it involves more Mumula trivia. But yeah, this is a killer EP. There are some bands that can just drop a demo and it's even harder and more just awesome than the actual album cuts, which I think the mixes on some of these songs were better than 13 Halloweens, and especially if you listen to the new Calabrese stuff, 13 Halloweens needs a remaster really bad. The mix is kind of lo-fi, maybe just needs a new mastering job, not sure. But I digress. So this Midnight Spookshow became kind of a it was the start of the woe factory that was Calabrese. I mean, for the first several records, they were the woe machines. Like, every song was like verse, and then just woes through the chorus. It was very sing-along kind of music. I love it. I remember being at some shows and hearing some people ripping on them, and they still listen to them. Don't let them lie. And especially after they progressed a little bit, like you get up into the Scorpions' Touch and Lust for Sacrilege, and they love them now. They went down that like darker Danzig thing, and they were like, they don't sound so much like a Misfits ripoff band now. Which, if any demo had that Misfits ripoff vibe to it, it would have been this. They were definitely a different vein than the Misfits. I mean, and by different vein, I mean they were a little more on the less hardcore. I mean, the Misfits were definitely classified as New York hardcore, New Jersey hardcore. That aggression is pulled back where the melodic, like more pop punky side is brought forward. It's a fine line, I know. It's like walking a knife's edge. But when it came to the vocals and the woes and the subject material, hey, you're gonna get it. The whole Misfits ripoff thing. This band was definitely under the fucking crosshairs of that shit. So, the original demo, I believe, was just printed out from their home printers. I don't think it was pressed. This is nicely pressed with great artwork. No fancy stories. Oh, and I will mention that Big Tony, Rubber Wolf Graphics, strikes his lovely head again with some badass artwork. Man, Tony, I can't ride your nuts enough. Seriously, you are a kick-ass artist, and absolutely, this is one of my favorite Tony pieces. Maybe not my absolute favorite, but it's easily up there. It's certainly one of the most nostalgic. I mean, when I think of early 2000s horror punk, there are certain album covers that just pop into my mind. Blitz Kid Let Flowers Die, Calabrese's Midnight Spookshow, Nuke and the Living Dead's Dig This. Oddly, a band that I don't have, but is also another big Tony one, is Under a Nightmare's record that he did the artwork for. Under the Nightmare. I don't own any of their stuff, but he knocked that one out of the park too. He's got really good coloring, Tony, that is. So, those are my main memories of this EP. It's really good. I mean, you just can't knock out any of the 6 songs. They're super, super great. And the thing I love about Calabrese is they are unapologetically nerdy. Unapologetically. Which is great, because any of the fucking horror punkers who try to come off like they're super cool and I'm too good for anything that's nerdy are full of shit. You know how many conversations about D&D and comic books I have had with horror punk guys? Hell, half my friendship with TB from Blitzkid was based around talking about comic books and fucking D&D modules. You know? I don't even know some of this stuff. I barely like some of these guys I'm friends with. I barely talked horror movies with them. We were talking completely other things. I mean, me and Stitches from the Reanimated. Hell, half our friendship is based around video games and fucking He-Man. So Calabrese just comes out. They flop their giant nerd dong onto the table and they're like, we like comic books and kung fu movies and fucking, all this stuff. Horror is just one part of it. Sci-fi is just one part of it. And that's that. I mean, what more is there to say? It's a kick-ass EP. Oh, I also will point out, and one of the things I absolutely love about Calabrese, and it makes me giggle too, is those motherfuckers will sign anything. Like, yeah, some bands you have to ask them to sign things. The Bobby and Davey and Jimmy, you guys will sign anything. This 12-inch of Midnight Spookshow EP is autographed. I have so many snapshots of these guys autographed that came with album releases. I've got posters autographed by them. I swear, you fucking sneeze and they'll fucking autograph it. I love it, but it amuses me because a lot of other bands forget about shit like that, or just don't do it. I don't really hound bands to sign stuff. It's never been really my thing. I don't like hounding them about that type of stuff. Good example is how long I've been friends with the guys from Blitzkid. I never once had them sign anything until their very last show, and then I was on my way to grad school, and I'm like, can you guys sign this? I mean, this is the last time, at least under this title, under the Blitzkid moniker. So I guess let's do this fanboy style. And the poster from that show is really close to my heart. So, yeah, and I will leave it at that. That Calabrese really loves to sign things. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm fairly certain that they would probably sign me if I asked them to. I'm almost certain of that. Speaking of which, guys, new record. Come on, 7-inch. You ever do you have any songs from the back in the day? I mean, I am now asking you, Calabrese, Bobby, Davey, Jimmy. Seriously, do you have any random ass songs from back in the day? Because that would make a killer 7-inch. I mean, it would just make a killer fucking 7-inch. Maybe like a B-side from back in the day with a new song. Why do I have to beg for 45s? I feel like I'm begging every single damn band for a 45. It should not be like that. Vinyl is now strong back. It is back with a vengeance. You can sell a 45. Trust me. That bitch will sell out in like 5 seconds. So there you go. Calabrese Midnight Spookshow EP. Here on the Midnight Chamber.